So we are here just to quickly share with all of you a little bit about Reach Esports, what that means, how it relates to our week of STEM that we have been going on. And Mr. Jeremy and Liam are gracious enough to join us just to answer a few questions. So Mr. Jeremy, I'm going to start with you if you don't mind. Do you mind just kind of sharing a little bit about your background, maybe as it relates to gaming? When did you start gaming? When did you get into esports? Anything that you might be able to share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, I'm Mr. Jeremy, the Overwatch coach. Gaming was something that I grew up with. I was always always on the console. I had PlayStation and Xbox, um, and I was gaming all through childhood. However, gaming wasn't really something you did online back then. At least I didn't have much access to it. So I really only got into it with my brother and by myself. I had a lot of different games. Didn't really get involved with esports until much later in life. I didn't have any sort of esports team when I was in high school or middle school for that matter. I didn't have anything like that that could get me involved. I loved playing with friends. And so I always had a little bit of a bug for video games. Loved playing it, loved getting better, loved learning the strategies of it. And so that got me involved with later on in life, after I went to college, got married, all of that fun stuff. I eventually started, I tried a bunch of different games, and Overwatch obviously was one of them. I first played on the console, and I believe it came out, 8 years ago. And I really enjoyed it, and I loved learning the strategy of it. So I started looking up YouTube videos, all kinds of different things. Any video, if there was an instructional video or a coaching video, I have seen it. And so I started learning and learning, and I loved it. So I decided, you know what, I want to get involved. And I found out that there were professional I always knew that there were professional gaming, as we know it, esports, but I never really knew that it was more than just the professionals. I thought it was only professionals, and so I learned that there are organizations that have, there are esports organizations that have their own system of tournaments and commentators and all kinds of stuff. And they have a system of, if you're looking for a coach or if you're looking for a team, you can reach out and you can search for that. So I did, and long story short, I coached a team for several years, and then I decided I wanted to be a player, and I played on an esports team for a good amount of time, and it kind of leads to where we are now. We heard that, I heard that there was an esports department, and I wanted to be involved, and so now I'm the coach of Overwatch, and here we go. I love coaching.
Do you mind sharing with us a little bit about your background? What got you into gaming and esports?
Yeah, so when I was younger, I used to watch my dad play all these games and stuff, and that's how I got into gaming. It was probably when I was around 4 or 5. And then my first game I started playing, it was Minecraft. And then over the years, it got more into competitive, like Fortnite, and ended up being Overwatch. And that's what led me to join the team.
Mr. Jeremy, I'm going to come back to you then for this next question to start. You kind of talked about this already, but if you want to elaborate anymore, just what's it like being, and you can actually talk about maybe both perspectives. What's it like being on an esports team as a teammate? And then what's it like being a coach, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was one thing that I'm sure a lot of you are aware of how physical sports work, basketball, football, and teams on, in school for that. There's practices, there's practice games, and we call those scrimmages. I think you call them scrimmages in physical sports as well. So, and then we had games as well. So what would happen was we would have practices at least twice a week. We called them scrimmages. We would find other teams that have are also in tournaments and are looking to, they're in their own esports organization, or sometimes they're in ours. But we would practice. We would have so when I was coaching, I would coach them twice a week for that scrimmage. We would have our own manager that set up games for us. And we would then also, I would coach them individually throughout the week. I'd have an assistant coach that also helped to coach individually. And so it very much was like your typical sports team. We had, practices throughout the week. We had matches, we had games. Now it was mainly based around tournaments. There wasn't much in the way of leagues, but it was very much in the same way. We took it very seriously. Everyone was there to learn, to grow, to get better, and to learn how to be the best they could be together as a team.
Liam, can I ask you a similar question? Just this is your second year as part of our esports team now. What's it like being a student athlete here at Reach?
Yeah. So like you said, it's a lot like actual sport, like other like sports like that everyone like kind of knows of, which is still like up and coming. So that's why I say that. But it requires a lot of practice, teamwork, decision making, and especially communication. Like I try every day. It doesn't have to be every day. Like that's kind of too much, but I always find time. I always try to practice with my teammates regularly. And then I always try to find ways to improve, like how I can do better. And it helps like a lot in the long run because it always like you master one thing and then you like keep practicing until you master the next thing. And then you just keep going on and on.
But Mr. Jeremy, in general, just as either a player or a coach, when you think of what we hopefully showcase themselves as some of the academic benefits of esports, are there any skills or traits that you think should stand out that somebody in esports should have that might make them a better player or teammate?
There are a lot of traits you learn as playing. I wouldn't say the only trait you need to make sure you have when you come play is that you're open to learn. You're open to be involved with your teammates, and you're just make yourself ready and available. And as long as you are, willing to spend time and to have an open mind and to learn, that's all you need coming in. But this is something that, I know my students, Liam is one of them. My team is very, they take it seriously because this is something that, it's a way to turn something that you enjoy, something you do for fun, a way to take it into something that will really build life-lasting characteristics and ability, attributes for yourself that will really go a long way. And so things like he already mentioned, team building or communication is a huge one that's very difficult to do. It's funny, communication is something we struggle with in general. But when you're playing a game, when you're trying your best to play your role, and then also learning how to communicate with the rest of the team in their roles while you've got all these things going on, it's a very important skill to learn, to be able to communicate and work with your team. And that's something that you learn, and you learn routine. You learn, how to have a good routine. You need one for practices. And so you learn that for your schooling as well. And it builds, a level of responsibility as well. You can't, it's kind of difficult to learn how to be better at a certain game and to perform your role better, without also knowing how to improve in your schoolwork and have a routine and a solid school routine, and completing your work in that manner. It's if you have the mindset, you have the mindset. And so building that mindset is one of the big things of esports, I would say.
Between playing esports and then also being a student, having to go to class and keep up with your grades, can you just try to describe that to us? Is it difficult? Do you need to work on time management or make a schedule? But how do you balance being both an esports athlete and a student full time too?
So what I do is I get up early in the morning so I could do like homework, and then and then every day as soon as I'm done, I'm starting to practice. But homework always goes first. Like you always like want to do that first, and then you want to make time for practice. It helps a lot if you make a schedule though. Or sometimes like you just have to just do homework the entire day just to get caught up. But it's very, very helpful because just homework is always first. That's the one thing. Like you always want to get good grades because that is huge on your future, and you always want to make sure that like your work is just always ahead. So
Awesome. All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to be here. And everybody, thank you for taking the time to, of course, view and check in with Reach Esports and all that is going on here. If you have any questions, right, please feel free to reach out, get involved. Esports is a camp we have going on here at school that is open to students of almost all ages now, from elementary all the way up to high school. So see if you can get involved. Thank you.